everyone, and welcome to Buy Now, Sell Now, the weekend edition. I'm Mubina Kapasi.
Hi everyone, I'm Avan Dabash, and let's get in a check as to what's lined up for you over the next 30 minutes. Some stocks that we will be discussing addressing viewer queries on Federal Bank, Gen Irrigation, as well as Indiabulls real estate.
And in our portfolio segment, we'll be discussing the portfolio of Nenumal Bhatia, who is a regular viewer of BNSN Weekend.
Okay, let's take it straight to our experts. Avinnash Gorakssakar, he's the head of research at Moneylicious, joins in to give us some perspective on the fundamentals. And Chavan, technical analyst at Angel Broking, is with us on the technical side. Great to have you both, gentlemen. First up, we've got an email query, so let's get straight to it. This has been sent in from Magesh G, all the way from the UAE. Thank you for sending in your query on BNSN. Well, let's address it. He's got a query regarding Federal Bank. Now, Magesh has bought 3,000 shares of Federal Bank at a price point of 73 rupees a piece. Now, his question is, shall he hold on or shall he sell with a short-term time horizon of the next 1 to 2 years? Well, I describe that as long, so let's find out what exactly the bank has really been up to. Of late, been in focus as it's been launching some of their schemes and taking part in CSR. But what has been the results? How has the company fared as compared to some of its other peers? So I wanted to just get in a view. First up, Avinnash, from you as to what the advice is really on Federal Bank. Do you think it's a good bank to have?
Yeah, Avan, I think he should hold on to Federal Bank, and I think if he is looking at a time horizon of at least 1 to 2 years, our sense is that Federal Bank has a very mature kind of customer base. In fact, large amount of NRIs. So the basically the deposit base is very healthy, and I personally would say that within the smaller set of banks, it is one of those banks which is liked by the institution and several HNIs. The numbers for the first quarter have also been quite moderately good. In fact, asset quality pain has been relatively less as compared to other players operating in the same scale. If he can hold on for maybe for the next 12 to 15 months, he could possibly look at a target price of around 110, 120. I mean, definitely worth holding on to, and this is definitely a positional view. In the short term, the stock may not see a very big kind of range because the stock is not very largely liquid, but fundamentals definitely look healthy here.
Okay, healthy fundamentals for Federal Bank. In fact, you can watch out for targets of more than 100 rupees in the next 12 to 15 months. That's, of course, Avinash's view on Federal Bank, a fundamental view coming in over there. Target placed at 96 rupees. Samit, coming on the technicals of Federal Bank, the last week has been quite tepid for Federal Bank. But if you look at it from a 1 or 2 year time horizon, where do you think Federal Bank can head?
See, we have already seen a stupendous rally in this stock since last 5 months. The stock rallied from the lower levels of 45 in such a short span, and now trading around its multi-year highs, which are placed around 74, 75. So yes, as you rightly said, with a near-term perspective, this stock can consolidate a bit. The range could be slightly wider. On the higher side, 74, 75 would be a major hurdle to watch out for. And on the low side, once its stock slips below 69.5, we could see some price-wise correction probably towards 62, 61. But if he has a longer term horizon, the chart structure certainly looks good. The stock is poised for a breakout beyond its resistance of 75, 76. Probably it might take some time, but the stock can head towards, technically speaking, the next targets, which we can say somewhere around 88 to 92.
Okay, that's the call coming in on Federal Bank then, and Samit says that you may exit the stock partially and hold the rest with a stop loss placed at 69.5 rupees. Hope we've been able to answer your query on Federal Bank. Now, Pankaj Sevlani has sent in 2 email queries once again, all the way from Dubai. Now, his first query is regarding Gen Irrigation. He says he has bought 500 shares of Gen Irrigation at a price of 88 rupees per share, and he wants to know what should he do with a mid to long term target. Now, can we check on Gen Irrigation and the kind of news flow that has kept this stock active in trade? It has inked a new pact for its unit Nandan Gen, which has signed up with Eritrea government worth 18.7 million euros to supply solar powered drip irrigation systems to the country, and that is something that has certainly been a very positive trigger for the stock. Avinnash, coming on Gen Irrigation, fundamentally I think the stock does look pretty strong, especially given the kind of order wins it has won since the last couple of months.
Yeah, exactly. I think if you see the order book as well as the kind of quarterly performance Gen Irrigation has put up and the kind of management commentary has come in, I think the management is pretty confident that issues like working capital and typically top line growth is going to be much more boosted in the coming quarters. Our sense is that a lot of effort has gone on the management in restructuring the business. In fact, their food processing unit has been hived off. That was one of the units which was actually causing a little bit of margin pressure. So hopefully in the next 12 months, our sense is that one could definitely get a better kind of earnings trajectory, which was missing for a long time. One could look at a target price of around 120 here. I think he should hold on.
Up on the fundamentals, the target price of 120, that's what Avinnash suggests. So it clearly looks strong in light of the kind of order wins as well as initiatives that the company has been taking. But even the charts in the long term seem fairly decent. So Samit, do you think that this is a keeper in the portfolio?
Yes, certainly. We have been maintaining our optimistic view in the stock since last couple of months. Last month, this stock confirmed its breakout from the accumulation zone. 80-81 was acting as a very strong resistance, but this stock convincingly broke this level with substantial rise in volume. So that clearly indicates that the stock is likely to head higher. Probably next 3 to 6 months, this stock can move towards 115, 118 levels. So as of now, he can hold on. He can place a stop loss at 82 rupees, and he can expect immediate targets of, as I said, 115, 118 in probably next 3 to 4 months.
Okay, that's a positive call coming in from both the fundamentals as well as technicals on Gen Irrigation. But let's move on. Pankaj has another query, and this time it's in relation to Indiabulls Real Estate. Now, he says he's bought 400 shares of that stock and it's bought at a price point of about 91 rupees per share. He wants to know what he should do once again with a mid-term to a long-term investment horizon. Now, Indiabulls Real Estate has been in the news for a couple of reasons. First up, of course, just on Friday, we had SEBI actually clearing out the proposals in relation to the changes for REITs. And that is something that's going to positively impact a lot of these real estate companies that do have a lot of rental assets on their portfolio. So that's one positive trigger, at least on the fundamentals for Indiabulls Real Estate. But Avinnash, getting a check then on this stock, do you think it's one of the better guys in the real estate pocket?
Yeah, I think if you talk about the kind of business mix Indiabulls Real Estate has, and clearly with the regulatory changes happening, especially as far as rates are concerned, my sense is that clearly this has been a favorite of the traders. But even from a fundamental standpoint of view, the kind of projects they have and the kind of visibility which the company has, I would presume that if the investor is slightly patient over the next 6 to 12 months, he could definitely get a good upside. In fact, the oncoming credit policy on October 4, if at all we do get a rate cut, I mean that could also positively impact most of the real estate players, including Indiabulls Real Estate. So I would suggest he should hold on. He could definitely get a decent good upside.
Okay, definitely stay invested, and I think a big shot in the arm for the entire real estate space on account of the REIT news. In fact, they're talking about bulking up their rental portfolio, and this is going to be a step that will definitely garner a lot of investor interest as well. But let's get in a fundamental take then. A little bit dicey when it comes to the charts of some of these real estate names, but are you, Samit, seeing any particular levels that you think we could see a decent enough breakout on?
If you recall, during the month of May, we saw a spectacular rally in the stock from the levels of 60-62 with huge volumes. This was followed by nearly 3 months time-wise as well as price-wise correction, but the volume activity have been on the lower side. So that clearly indicates that the stock is clearly in a strong uptrend, and now this is purely a corrective move of the larger degree uptrend. So going forward, if we look at the major level, then probably 104, 105 is the level to watch out for. Once this stock surpasses this level, we could see much higher levels, probably 122, 125. But as of now, he can hold on. 77 seems to be a very strong base, so he can place a stop loss slightly below 77 on a closing basis, and he can hold on to it. Once this stock surpasses 105, as I said, this stock can give very good returns.
All right, a consensus hold call coming in on Indiabulls Real Estate once again on both the fundamentals as well as the technicals. Let's take a quick break, but on the other side, we'll be discussing our regular viewer, Nenumal Bhatia's portfolio. Stay tuned. welcome back. Thanks for staying on with us. This is Buy Now, Sell Now Weekend.
Let's get in our Portfolio Advisor segment. Today we're focusing on Nenu Malbhatia's portfolio. He's retired, lives in Dubai yet again and has a long-term time horizon of about 2 years. Let's find out what he should do and which of the stocks he holds. Jamna Auto features on the list at 180 rupees. He's got 1200 shares of Sudarshan Chemicals at 295. BEL 500 shares purchased at 1080 rupees. He's got Stylum Industries at 475, that's the buy point, 600 shares. V-Guard Industries bought at 160. Aztec Life Sciences also features on the list, 550 shares bought at a level of 395 rupees. Moving on, Gati 900 shares, 178 is the buy point. Majesco bought at a level of about 435 rupees. And then there's BF Utilities, 450 shares bought at 585. So Avinnash, let's nail it down to the first three recommendations. It's clearly a portfolio that's dominated by mid-cap names. Jamna Auto, Sudarshan Chemicals, and what's the view on BEL given the deal that was just signed with France and India?
No, I think clearly this is a very concentrated mid-cap portfolio, and I think the investor has entered the stocks at a pretty good price, so his risk reward is still pretty attractive. I would suggest that as far as Jamna Auto is concerned, he should hold on. I think this company has done remarkably well in the Q1. And earnings growth in terms of the top line expansion as well as margin expansion has been very good. Probably you could look at a target price of 275 here. In case of Sudarshan Chemicals, the stock has seen a very big rally from almost 100 odd levels to close to levels of 450. We have seen a little bit of correction here, but I think looking at the kind of management commentary and the Q1 numbers, probably if we can hold on for the next 12 months, we could see a target price of around 450. And Bharat Electronics, typically looking at the kind of defense deal which was signed today, our sense is that most of the large defense companies would be definitely be in the buzz, and clearly BL with a very large order book clearly stands to gain. In fact, we could see some amount of benefits coming out of the Rafale deal for BL also, and clearly I think from a longer term perspective we should hold on. We could look at a target price of around 1550 here.
All right, those three calls are certainly a whole coming in, given the kind of money that our investors making. Jamna Auto, Sudarshan Chemicals and BL can continue staying on your portfolio. Let's get a check on the next three stocks then. Once again, it's a mix of small cap and mid cap names. It's Stylus Industries, V-Guard Industries and Aztec Life. And Avinnash, I must say, he's once again entered it at good price points for these three stocks.
I think clearly if you look at a stock like Stylum Industries, in the month of June this was trading at around 250 and now it trades at about 550, 560 odd. So there's been a great kind of outperformance and earnings growth has been very strong here. In fact, this is a small mid-cap sized company which makes laminates, and I suggest he should hold on. He could probably look at a price of around 600. It's only traded on BSE. We could see a NSE listing in the coming quarters. As far as V-Guard is concerned, another favorite from the institution as well as the HNI space, very strong in the consumer durable space. With the kind of 7th pay commission money flows expected to come in, we could see good amount of volumes here, and probably if we can hold on for the next 12 months, we could see a price of around 210. And Aztec Life has been also one of the good companies which have outperformed quite well. Here clearly, it's a fairly mid-size agri play which specializes in some compounds, and clearly, the kind of fancy we have seen for agro companies is largely driven because this year monsoons have been pretty good. So we could see a good first half, which is typically a peak quarter for farm, agro companies. So here he could look at a price of around 470, 475. After that, he could exit.
All right, more upside potential possible for these three stocks, but getting a check on the next three stocks in his portfolio. It's Gati, which he's bought at a price of about 178 rupees. He's losing a bit of money over there. That's a pain point for his portfolio. Majesco bought in at 435 rupees and PF Utilities at 585 rupees. Fairly in the money, or rather at the money for that stock. Avinnash, getting a check on these three?
I think as far as Gati is concerned, I think he would have to hold in for a year's time frame, because now with the GST out of the way, I think the markets are clearly looking at the fact that whether GST implementation happens from April next year. And if that happens, then obviously logistic players like Gati should benefit significantly, and that could be a major re-rating trigger for Gati. So I would presume that he should use the downturn in the current price to actually buy in more and probably look at a target of around 170, 180. As far as Majesco is concerned, their big plus point is that they are large vendors to companies in the US for their insurance product vertical, and that is something which is going to grow quite significantly over the next 2 years. So here it's a longer term kind of time play. So if he can put in a longer time window of at least 12 to 18 months, he could look at a target price of around 550. And as far as BF Utilities is concerned, it's more of a trading play, and there is an event which is likely to happen in the near term. Once that happens, you could see a very big significant re-rating. Earnings are not actually justifying the price currently, but if he can hold on for the next 12-18 months, and if this event fructifies, he could get a target price of at least 650 plus.
Okay, there you have it. That's the advice coming in on the entire portfolio. Hope you took note of all the changes and recommendations that have been made by Avinnash. Tell you what, we'll slip into a quick break right here on the show. Before we do that, here's an important disclaimer that it's only a model portfolio and you must consult your financial advisor before taking on board any financial decisions. Let's slip into a quick break, come right back on the other side for some top stock ideas.
Welcome back. This is Buy Now Sell Now Weekend.
Well, let's focus in on the market action that we witnessed in the week gone by, and definitely for the frontline index, it was a crucial week given that we were watching out with hawk eyes for what the US Fed would do as well as the Bank of Japan, and definitely it was a big sigh of relief for global markets, and we piggybacked on that sentiment. But muted all in all for the reaction for the week gone by. Let's get in a view then, Samit, as to now what's the important level that you'd be monitoring on the Nifty?
See, we have seen a decent bounce in the market during the week, but we are not getting too carried away by this momentum. If we look at the weekly chart during the penultimate week, we witnessed a formation of shooting star pattern on weekly charts. So that is clearly not encouraging. So as long as Nifty remains below 89.10 on a closing basis, we might see some consolidation happening with a negative bias. We expect downside levels of probably 8700, 8650 in probably next 4 to 5 trading sessions. So we are not too optimistic on the market, clearly with a near-term perspective. And on the higher side, as I said, 89.10 would be a major level to watch out for.
Okay, 89.10 on the upside is a level that you may watch out for. Avinnash, get in a check on the market levels that you'll be monitoring then. And now that we have, majorly finished off with the central bank decisions that were crucial for global markets, what would be the next triggers that you'll be watching out for?
No, I think clearly the markets would be watching the forthcoming credit policy, and I think all indications are pointing that looking at the kind of benign inflation numbers, we could see possibly a positive rate cut happening. And if that happens, I think the markets would be pleasantly surprised, because that is something the market badly needs as a near-term trigger. And very clearly, I think unless and until we go below 8700, I think the trend reversal would definitely happen. But I don't think in the near term this is likely. I think the markets would definitely hold on. And the kind of bounce we saw, post the Fed decision, I think clearly indicates that now October and November are months where possibly there are not going to be many negative surprises from the global, scenario. And clearly, I think, October should be a better month for the market. So overall, I think one should actually be a buyer on every decline.
All right. Samit, I just want to get in a check on the Nifty Metal Index, because that is something that has really rallied in the last 5 days. In fact, it has been able to end in the green on all the 5 days, 3.6% of gains coming in for the whole of the week. What's your take on the metals pack?
As you rightly said, we have witnessed a decent bounce during the week, but if we look at the overall daily chart structure, the super trend indicator is in negative mode, and if we look at the hourly chart structure, 2600 to 2580 seems to be a major resistance. So similar to Nifty 8910, Nifty Metal faces a strong resistance probably around 2600, 2580. So these are the two levels to watch out for. And once this stock surpasses 2600, we could see resumption of larger degree uptrend. But as of now, 2600 would be a resistance, and lower side 2440 to 2560 would act as a very strong support.
Okay, Avinash, now just get in a check on some individual ideas then for somebody who has more of a long-term investment horizon. What will you revise them?
I think we like two companies. The first is a company called JK Paper. We believe that the paper cycle has turned positive, and this has been visible in the last 3-4 quarters. In fact, the reason JK Paper looks interesting is that the business model is very strong. They largely operate in the premium segment like copier paper, coated paper, and the branded segment paper. Very clearly, numbers for last year have been very strong. They reported a top line of 2,400 crores, a EBITDA of 400 crores, and a bottom line of 72 crores. And this momentum has been maintained in the first quarter also. We had a profit of almost 27 crores, which was up by almost 70% odd. Now, the key triggers for them is higher capacity utilization, softer commodity prices, and lower power prices. And this is going to actually benefit in margin expansion also going forward. In fact, prices for the paper market have been quite buoyant. So, we are looking at earnings of around 7 rupees plus for the current year and around 8.5 rupees for next year. So, clearly one could see a significant re-rating. We are looking at a target price of around 78, over the next 12 months. And the next stock which we like within the agri space is Rallis. Rallis is a Tata Group company, and the kind of quarterly numbers the company has put out in Q1 clearly demonstrates that FY17 is going to be a very strong year. Apart from the agri business, they have a very large presence in the seeds as well as the CSM business. And clearly the CSM and the seed business is going to be a growth driver for the second half of this current year. So, clearly a very strong balance sheet, very little debt on the balance sheet, a very strong brand and a pan-India presence, I think makes it pretty attractive. Over the next 12 months, one should accumulate this stock. We could look at a target price of around 265 here.
There you have it. JK Paper, Rallis India, both stocks to watch out for. And meantime, on the technicals, what is it that you're picking out, Sameer?
Though we are a bit cautious on the market, we expect outperformance from the individual stocks to continue. With a 3 to 4 weeks time horizon, we have a buy call on Jet Airways. If we look at the daily chart structure, this stock has completed its ninth time zone as per the Fibonacci time series and has now entered a new time zone. So, looking at Friday's price action along with the substantial rise in volume, we expect this stock to outperform. We have an immediate target of 598 and stop loss would be around 524. For the forthcoming week, our sell call would be on Maruti. This stock has been struggling around 5600, 5620 since last 4 weeks. If we look at the weekly chart structure, the stock is now currently trading around its historical trend line, which is placed around 5600. Thus, we expect a minor profit booking from current level. 5250 would be a next level to watch out for on the downside, and this can be short sold by keeping a strict stop loss at 5662.
All right, a buy call on Jet Airways and a sell call coming in on Maruti. That's, of course, technical ideas coming in from Sameet. Avinash and Sameet, thanks so much for joining in on Buy Now, Sell Now weekend. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the show. Thanks so much for watching and have a lovely weekend.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.